That day, I was fishing. And suddenly, footsteps. The sharp click of heels on pavement. I didn't even turn around. I already knew Karen, president of our HOA, always with a clipboard, like she's building a case file on every shrub in the neighborhood.
You're violating the rules. Fishing is prohibited. This is not a designated area for that,
she declared, pointing at my fishing rod like it was a machine gun. Rules. Where's that written?
I added an amendment yesterday morning. Emergency vote.
Of course, yesterday, when I was already out fishing. But I'm not the kind of person to just let things slide. Let me tell the story from the beginning. Karen wasn't just a fan of rules. She was the rules. The living, breathing constitution of suburban hell, written in Comic Sans and laminated for daily enforcement. She didn't enforce the HOA guidelines. She weaponized them. If you trimmed your hedges too aggressively, $50 fine for landscape hostility. Left your trash can out past 8:01 a.m. on pickup day, $60 penalty for visual pollution. A neighbor of mine, a veteran, no less, was fined $100 for flying the national flag because the pole was 2 inches too tall. Karen said it disrupted the vertical harmony of the streetscape. Another family dared to play music during a Sunday picnic. Just a Bluetooth speaker, a little Marvin Gaye. She slapped them with a $75 fine for what she called sonic aggression against community tranquility. One time, she literally fined a cat. Yes, a cat. Mr. Whiskers was sitting on a windowsill, squinting out into the sun. Karen claimed he was staring too intensely at her rose bushes and filed a $25 complaint for intentional plant intimidation. She had a tape measure in her purse, a notepad in her hand, and a personal vendetta against anything remotely joyful. To Karen, freedom was a weed that needed immediate removal. And then came the final straw, me. Just me, my fishing rod, and a peaceful morning by the lake. A public lake, mind you. Open to all, or so I thought. But Karen didn't see an enjoying nature. She saw an opportunity to regulate. 2 days later, I got an official HOA letter printed, stamped, and signed with her signature flourish that looked like a curling vine of judgment. It read, "Fishing disrupts the aquatic environment and provokes ecological polarization." Ecological polarization. I stared at the letter for a full minute. First I laughed, then I paused, then I laughed again harder. Surely this was a joke, a prank, a hidden camera moment? Nope, Karen was dead serious. She even included a poorly drawn diagram of rippling disharmony zones caused by casting a fishing line. But here's the thing, I'm not just a guy with a fishing rod. I'm an engineer, patient as a monk, petty as a gremlin, and with just enough disposable income to make bad ideas into beautiful realities. So I made a few calls, spoke to a few folks, filed a few papers, and within a couple of weeks, I discovered something wonderful. The lake was for sale, so I bought it. All of it. The water, the shoreline, the land around it, the fish, the frogs, even the ducks, unofficially. For 3 whole days, I just sat there, no fishing, no fanfare, just soaking in the serenity of owning the very thing Karen tried to take from me. Then I took it a step further. I ordered signs, big ones, the kind you can see from space, bright yellow, bold black text. Private property, residents not welcome. Fishing permitted lake owner only. Strategically placed around the perimeter like little flags of sweet, sweet vengeance. Let's just say, Karen noticed. Karen completely lost her mind. At first, it came in the form of a letter 5 full pages of passive-aggressive fury, typed entirely in Comic Sans. She even included bullet points, footnotes, and a flowchart titled, "Consequences of Individualism in Shared Spaces." Then came the grand entrance. She marched up to my property like a prosecutor on closing arguments, clipboard in hand, flanked by 2 loyal HOA board members who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. I swear one of them was holding a tape measure, the other a notepad that read, "Incident log number 47. She pointed at one of my glorious yellow signs, eyes wide like she'd just seen graffiti on the Mona Lisa.
You're violating the spirit of the community.
It's private property, Karen. My lake. My rules.
You're endangering the neighborhood's social ecosystem.
And you're endangering common sense, Karen. Silence. A single leaf drifted by on the water like it was trying to get away from the drama. The board members awkwardly looked at their shoes. Even the ducks avoided eye contact. But Karen? Oh no, she was just getting started. Of course, Karen called the cops. Because when logic fails, escalate. An officer showed up. calm and clearly familiar with suburban drama. He took one look at the signs, flipped through my property documents, and let out the kind of sigh that said, "I don't get paid enough for this." Then he turned to Karen, expression flat as a sidewalk.
Well, he owns it. You're kinda not in the water here.
Karen's face turned the exact shade of her infamous HOA red nail polish, a color I assume is sold exclusively to people who yell in lowercase legalese. She left in a fury, but not in defeat. Karen never retreats, she regroups. A week later, I got a new letter in the mail. This time, it was from a newly formed committee, the Committee on Visual Harmony. Guess who the chairperson was? Yep, Karen. She claimed that my bold yellow signs threatened the visual cohesion and emotional feng shui of the neighborhood. I wrote back with all the grace of a Shakespearean roast. "Your existence threatens my mental peace. Kindly relocate." No response, just silence, and the distant, muffled sound of a clipboard snapping in half. Weeks passed. The signs stayed up, louder than ever, proud, defiant, a middle finger in Helvetica. Karen's glare became a daily forecast. Her silence? Temporary, calculated. Then it began. She escalated. Fake complaints flooded the HOA inbox. Unauthorized shoreline modification, noise pollution from dock activity, suspicious interactions with wildlife. Someone dumped mulch on my driveway. My mailbox was mysteriously knocked loose. A citation appeared on my door. Improper flag display. It was a windsock. Next came the surveys. Community wellness and environmental coexistence audits. Printed like propaganda. Glossy covers. Spiral-bound and ominous. Inside, questions like, does individual lake use compromised communal healing? Are brightly colored signs subconsciously violent? Rate the emotional toxicity of unilateral dock ownership. And, absurdly, can the color yellow provoke moral decay? I filled it out with 37 sketches of Karen screaming at clouds. Signed it. The lake doesn't care. I don't care. You, however, need help. But that only made her double down. She started monitoring me from her car. Binoculars, clipboard, a folder labeled Pattern of Disruption. She timed my fishing sessions, took photos of Greg, claimed he was a trained duck, filed a wildlife tampering complaint. The HOA held a hearing. I showed up with receipts, timestamp footage, and an affidavit from my neighbor. I played calm. She fumed. When they asked if I had anything to say, I simply handed over the HOA's own rulebook. Turn to page 42. Shoreline signage regulation. Non-binding in cases of pre-existing personal property. Karen's face dropped. I wasn't just right, I was untouchable. That weekend, I installed a bench, bright yellow, engraved across the back. Let it go, Karen. She hasn't come near the lake since. I didn't win a war, I ended one.